On behalf of our program starting Take Back Control, today I am going to give you 4 ways that you can overcome emotional eating. Now, what is emotional eating? Emotional eating is when you tend to turn to food in order to cope with certain emotions, whether that's boredom, stress, anxiety, even happiness. It's basically when we eat not because we're hungry, but because we're feeling a certain type of way, and we're using this food to make us feel better. So my first tip is to analyze your hunger. So are you really hungry for food, or are you eating because you are stressed? A lot of the times it doesn't even have to be food. Sometimes it's wine. Do you really need to have that glass of wine, or are you just having it because you're stressed? Do you really need to have that box of cookies, or are you just doing it because you think it's gonna make you feel better after a long days at work? So analyze your hunger. Ask yourself, am I really hungry, or am I just using this food to cope with certain emotions? Awareness is key. Another thing that you should do is ask yourself, stop, drop, and ask. That's what I call this. Stop, drop, and ask. So ask yourself, how am I going to feel after I eat this food? A lot of the times we feel guilty after we eat, after we're stressed, and it's just a very vicious negative cycle. So stop and ask yourself, how am I gonna feel after I eat this? And how am I gonna feel tomorrow? So ask yourself this question, because sometimes emotions can be overwhelming and we don't really stop to analyze how we're gonna feel after the fact. We just do, right? But if you stop and give yourself a few minutes, emotions do pass. It passes, and that leads into my next tip. Know that emotions do pass. This is temporary, and this food is not going to make you feel better in the long run. So it's not something that you should turn to cope with emotions. So this too shall pass is my third tip. And lastly, my last tip is analyze your sleep. So if you are feeling like you're having a lot of cravings and you're feeling maybe stressed and anxious, analyze your sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? If you don't sleep, your hunger levels go up through the roof, because there's a hormone called leptin that controls your appetite, and that decreases. So if you are not having good quality sleep, you will have cravings and you will be emotional eating. Why? Because you're gonna be more stressed, your cortisol is gonna be higher, and you're gonna, not only are you gonna eat more, but you're gonna eat more sugar, because that's what your body is craving. It's craving that quick energy, which comes from sugars and carbs. So analyze all these things. Ask yourself, am I really hungry? Do I really need to have this snack? How am I gonna feel tomorrow? And just know that any emotion going through right now, it too shall pass. And analyze your sleeping patterns. Can you do better there? So there is help if you are dealing with emotional eating. Obviously, this is not something that is happens overnight. You need to practice this, but the more you practice, the more that you will succeed, and the better that you will feel, and the less that you are going to emotionally eat.